What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats of every one of the weapons in Black Ops 4 multiplayer. In today's episode, we're finally going to be covering the new LMG that came with the contraband stream for Operation Spectre Rising, and this is the Tigershark. Now I want to give a big shout out and thank you to a longtime follower of mine, Soshi. I'm using his account for this gun guide. He's been grinding through that contraband stream since this came out, and he was kind enough to let me use his account since I'm no longer supporting this contraband system. So starting it off, as always, let's have a look at the damage profile. With the Tigershark, we get a damage profile of 38-30, which means it's going to be a 4 to 5 shot kill in core game modes and a 1 shot kill in hardcore game modes. As for our rate of fire, this is a little bit better than the Titan at 500 rounds per minute, and this means our statistical minimum time to kill is going to be 360 milliseconds in the 4-shot kill range and 480 milliseconds in the 5-shot kill range. So time to kill wise, it's pretty much right around average as long as you're within that 4-shot kill range. As for the Tigershark against armor, it doesn't fare too well unless you're using the FMJ attachment. It's going to take you 1 extra shot to kill at all ranges against an armor user. Speaking of ranges, as you can see here, the Tigershark drops off to that 5-shot kill range at 50 meters, which is a very good range. It's not quite as good as like the Titan, for instance, which just simply doesn't drop off within the ranges that the multiplayer maps have. But generally speaking, the vast majority of your gunfight should be within that 4-shot kill range unless you're using the suppressor attachment, which actually cuts your range in half with this gun. As a result, in core game modes at least, I wouldn't recommend using the suppressor on the Tigershark in its current state. This is simply far too much of a reduction to its range, and when you get in that 5-shot kill range, you don't have a very competitive time to kill. As for hardcore, like I said earlier, it will always be a 1-shot kill in hardcore modes at any range, unless you're shooting through cover, the enemy has armor, or they have their health boosted by crash. As for headshots, we get a standard headshot multiplier of 1.1, which takes our headshot damage profile to a 41-33, and what this means is, without the high caliber attachment at least, headshots are useless with this gun, don't even bother going for them. When we add the high caliber attachment, however, we do get a multiplier of 1.47 to the head, which gives us a headshot damage profile of 56-44. What this means is within the standard 4-shot kill range, it will take you 2 headshots mixed in with body shots in order to reduce the number of shots it takes to kill. So it's not the most powerful high caliber attachment out there when you compare it to a lot of other guns, but I would say, especially if you're going for headshot camos, it's definitely helpful to have high caliber equipped. Just keep in mind it requires you to hit 2 shots to the head in order for it to help. Moving on to Hipfire, as you can see, the Tigershark has the best Hipfire spread in the LMG category, although it is just very slightly better than the Hades as well as the VKM, but it's definitely noticeably better than the Titan. And with the laser sight attachment, we can reduce that hipfire spread by roughly 40%, which is a pretty big improvement, and therefore laser sight is quite a good choice with this gun. This brings us to idle sway, and as you can see here, there is practically no idle sway with this gun. It is rock solid when you're aiming down sight. As for recoil, the Tigershark is pretty accurate as you can see here. It does bounce around a little bit within a very small and contained area. So at extremely long ranges, yes, sometimes you will bounce off target, and it's not quite as accurate as the Titan, for instance, but I would still consider it to be a very accurate gun. This is especially true when you put the grip attachment on. As you can see, it definitely tightens that up a little bit, and now it's pretty much in line with where the Titan is when it comes to recoil. As for our magazine capacity, this is 48 rounds with 144 total starting ammo, which is a bit on the low end for an LMG, but it is very good compared to like an assault rifle, for instance. And with this, we don't have the option to use extended mag or hybrid mag. Our reload add time is 2.07 seconds, which is very fast for an LMG, but it would be considered quite slow for an assault rifle, so it's kind of somewhere in the middle. But if we use the fast mag attachment, we can reduce this reload add time all the way down to 1.17 seconds, which is now fast even for an assault rifle. It's a very, very quick reload. Our aim down sight time with the Tigershark is 330 milliseconds, which is pretty much standard for the LMG category, but keep in mind we do not have access to quick draw, unlike with the Titan, for instance. Same thing goes with our sprint out time. This is standard for the LMG category at 350 milliseconds, but with Gung Ho, we can reduce that down to 220 milliseconds. Our movement speed is standard for LMGs and just a little bit slower than the assault rifles and tactical rifles at 92.5%, and our aim down sight movement speed is standard for LMGs as well at 38%. Now, if you want to increase that aim down sight stray speed, we have access to both stock 1 as well as stock 2, and with stock 1, we get a 67% aim down sight movement speed, and with stock 2, that will bump all the way up to 75%. So that pretty much covers it for all of the standard stats for the Tigershark LMG, but we do have an operator mod for this that does fundamentally change how this gun works. This operator mod is called Burst Rush, and what this does is it turns the LMG into a 6-round burst, where the first 2 shots fire at 600 rounds per minute, and then the final 4 shots within that burst will fire extremely fast at roughly 1200 rounds per minute. It is very difficult to hand test when you start to get to that really high fire rate like that, but that's roughly what I was able to calculate. Now, the one downside to this burst is there is a 300 millisecond delay between each burst, which is a very long delay time for a burst weapon. But if you are able to one-burst your enemies, which keep in mind you have to land 4 out of those 6 shots within 50 meters, then you have a time to kill potential of just 300 milliseconds, which is definitely better than you can do when you're not using the operator mod on this gun, and that's a very good time to kill. So with this, it's definitely a high-risk, high-reward sort of an operator mod. I should also point out, when you have this operator mod equipped, it does give you a very good recoil pattern, so you can be very accurate even at super long ranges. So in the right hands, this operator mod will make you a very dominant force in the match. However, if you're somebody that can't consistently get those one-burst kills on enemies, you're going to have a very hard time with this setup. And this brings us to the recommended attachments for the Tigershark before we get into a couple great example classes I have for you guys. When it comes to optics, I really don't like the iron sight on this gun. I think that's one of the big downsides to it, so I almost always run either a reflex or an ELO sight. It's really down to preference, but ELO is the one that I prefer most of the time. As for the other attachments, I really like using the stock attachment on the Tigershark, although I would say stock 2 is a little bit overkill. Just having one stock attachment is perfectly fine. Laser sight is also a great option, especially because we don't have access to quick draw, so in those close quarter situations, often you have to rely on hip firing as you're aiming down sights, and if you don't have that laser sight equipped, that hip fire is going to be all over the place and you're not likely to hit those shots. When it comes to the grip, it's not really all that necessary on the Tigershark. Yes, it does help, especially at longer ranges, or if you're specifically aiming for headshots, it's great. But in any other situation, you're generally not going to have any issue whatsoever with recoil. When it comes to FMJ, this is a good attachment, especially if you're running into a lot of people that are using armor, because this gun is punished quite a bit for having to take an extra shot to kill. But at the same time, it really depends on the lobby that you're in and how many people are using armor. This brings us to high caliber, which, like I said, it's not the most powerful high caliber attachment in this game, and therefore I really only recommend running it if you're going for those headshot camos. It's definitely going to help in those situations, but most of the time, since you have to land 2 shots to the head in order for it to help, I would rather just aim center mass and have more consistently accurate shots. As for fast mags, this is an excellent attachment with this gun. Like I said earlier, it gets a very fast reload time. Even for an assault rifle, it's a very fast reload time, so that's really nice to have. And finally, that just leaves us with suppressor, and I wouldn't recommend using the suppressor attachment unless you're playing hardcore. In hardcore, it's still going to be a one-shot kill, even at really long ranges with the suppressor, so that's fine. But in core modes, it reduces that 4-shot kill range far too much for this to be a viable attachment. And with that, this finally brings us to a few great example classes I have for you guys with the Tigershark. This first one is a great sort of all-around class. This is kind of my go-to Tigershark class based on my limited experience with it so far. With this, we're using the ELO sight, stock, laser sight, as well as fast mags. This allows me to be quite aggressive with this gun and still be very successful. For our gear, we've got Stim Shot, which just helps with that aggressive playstyle. We're using special issue equipment. We've got Scavenger, Gung Ho, as well as Dead Silence. All of these perks are kind of crutches for me, although Scavenger isn't necessary. If you are going on a really long streak and you don't have somebody using Crash on your team, it is nice to have Scavenger to fall back on. So like I said, that's just a great all-around sort of a class, and this is the one that you'll see in pretty much all of the gameplay in the background. But for a second class setup, this one's designed more so if you're going for those headshots or you're trying to pick people off across the map. This class setup is quite good for that. Once again, we are going to be using the ELO sight, but this time we're using grip to get some more accurate shots at those really long ranges, high caliber to help us get those headshots more effectively, and we're once again going to be using stock just because it does help with your aim down sight strafe speed so much. The rest of the class setup is exactly the same as I had it before. That's just kind of my go-to setup that just works for me. Of course, you could make some adjustments there if you'd like, so this is more so just a variant of that previous class setup I shared. And finally, we have a great example class with the operator mod for this gun, although keep in mind, unfortunately, the operator mod wasn't unlocked at the time that I had access to this account, and therefore I haven't actually used this in public matches. But I do know the stats of it, and I was able to play around with it against bots in the background, so that's what you're seeing. That's why it looks like the enemies are bots in this particular gameplay. They are. It's really just designed to show you the potential. But this one we're using fast mags because you actually burst through those rounds pretty quickly, so it's nice to be able to get a quick reload. stock because strafing while aiming down sight is very important, and of course we've got the operator mod on there. As for our gear, we've got the ComSec device because generally we're going to be hanging back a bit more with this class. We're not going to be quite as aggressive, and therefore it's more so designed for going on higher kill streaks and getting those kill streaks up faster. And that just leaves us with the same old perk setup that I typically use because that's just the perk setup that works for me and my playstyle. And with that, we're going to wrap up today's gun guide on the Tigershark LMG. As for my thoughts on this LMG, I think it is a very solid gun. It is a little bit better than the Titan in my opinion, although the Titan does have some upsides like the ability to use quick draw, whereas the Tigershark doesn't. But the Tigershark does fire a little bit faster and therefore has a bit of a better time to kill. It's still very accurate and quite easy to use. So if you were kind of on the fence as to whether or not you wanted to grind really hard for this LMG, I would highly encourage you to do so if you're still playing this game a decent amount because this gun is great. But of course, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about the Tigershark LMG? Do you think it's a good gun, a bad gun, somewhere in between? Do you think it needs some buffs or nerfs? Just let me know what you guys are thinking down below. Also, if you guys have missed any of the previous episodes of Gun Guides, I have covered every single gun that is currently in the game. I will leave a link to the playlist down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.